I think by having a really great product, a great full screen video unit, the focus can be on terrific creative and not necessarily, some of the other not so attractive advertising techniques.
And do you think the relationship between the user and especially the young millennials in Snapchat who've wised up to the fact that their data has been sold from other social media, do you think that they have a different relationship with Snapchat because of that? Do you think they trust you more, is I guess what I'm asking?
We definitely like to think so, because we try to make it very clear what value you get when you give us a piece of information. So, for example, we have a terrific new geo-filters product. So if you're in a location, you can pull down special creative based on where you are. So right now you can use the Cannes filter, for example, if you're in Cannes. But we don't store that information, and we make that really clear. So that's just an example of where people get it. They're like, oh, okay, so if I give you my location right now, I can get a special piece of content, but you're not going to store it. And I think the value is really clear, so we really try to communicate the value. It doesn't mean not asking for the information. It just means really directly linking why it's important for us to have your location at a specific point in time.
And how much time of your actual day do you spend on Snapchat?
Like the service?
Yeah. I mean, how many snaps do you send?
I send a lot. I mean, I probably like a couple hours a day.
Right.
It's kind of my job.
Yeah. I would just like to add as a footnote to that, it is not my son's job, my teenage son's job, and he just racked up his 100,000th Snapchat, either sending it or receiving it. So I'm glad it's your job. I'm sad it's not his job. So what are the challenges of video storytelling on video?
Oh, man. Gosh, there are a lot. I think for us, a new thing, a kind of a fun thing, has been trying to play around with the vertical format, because you can do a lot more with it. I think in the sense that, we tried making a little video series, basically. And one of the things that we came up with as part of doing that was a new editorial technique where you have different video frames playing all at the same time. And you kind of get the feeling of having a conversation with people, because you can sort of see what someone's saying, and then you can see someone else's response all in the same screen. So rather than just one video frame, having two or three is actually kind of engaging, because you get the feeling of being in a conversation in a group and looking at everyone's reaction. So I think for us, we're really at the beginning of playing around with new ways to use vertical video, but that's been something that's exciting for us. I think the core is always, though, like, what's the story, right? Is there a narrative arc? Does it make sense? And being just relentlessly focused on that, I think, is important.
So do you see yourself then really emerging as a kind of media content player too? I mean, I'm just thinking with the Charleston, with your I should have added, for those who haven't been on the Discover platform, that one of the central box has a little reverse ghost on it, which is the Snapchat produced content, which is where your soap opera lived, right? Is that something that you want to really start doing much, much more of? That you're actually producing your own content?
We've done it for the most part to learn, just because no one else, at the time we sort of started, no one else was producing content in our format. And so we figured we might as well learn how to do that, and what tools, we were going to need to make to help other people do that. And so I think in that sense, it's primarily focused on learning. Obviously, we've invested a lot in our live stories product and covering events, because I think we're really kind of the only business today that can do that. We have, so many people at, I guess it's like, if you go to an NBA game, 20% of people at that event are contributing to the live story of that event.
It's incredible.
Which is wild, and I think that's going to continue to increase. So I think we're sort of the only company that can provide that experience today, and we're going to continue investing there. I think the most important thing I can explain about how content relates to the rest of our business is that it's just one of our three core businesses. So content is to the kind of right of the camera screen if you're looking at the app. The center is obviously the camera. Every conversation starts with a picture. You can kind of think of it think about it as like the flashing cursor on like a word processor, right? So, and conversations used to start with words, now they start with pictures. And then to the left is really our communications products. You can see everyone you're having a conversation with. And we're going to monetize those businesses differently. And obviously this event's really focused on that content aspect of our business that we're monetizing with advertising.
Okay, so you mentioned monetization. Here you are. I think the latest valuation I saw was $19 billion. What keeps you up at night?
Oh, man. Jet lag.
And to be fair, you came in from LA yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah. So a little jet lag. Definitely execution. I think we have a clear idea of what we're going to do, but there are billions of people in the world with ideas. It takes a lot of work to make it happen, and that's really important to us. So I think execution, and obviously that's directly related to just making sure we continue to hire the best possible team. I mean, that's between the product and the team. There's really nothing else I care more about.